And we are here and we're welcome to have Martie. How are you today, Martie?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be on, Pierce. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no,
How's it going?
we're really excited because today should have been the first day of Union Omaha soccer at home. We have so much content for you, for all of the fans that are watching on our YouTube page. We've got interviews with every single player. That's right. We went out and we interviewed every single player for you guys. We're super excited to do this. But Martie, let's start it off with you. How are you doing today? And what's today like, even though we're not having a home game, but like, do you still have those type of vibes for a first game?
Yeah, it's extremely disappointing, obviously. When you work for something for multiple years, in this case, about 2.5 years, and then obviously we're coming up on May 1st will be the 1 year anniversary of the announcement. So, pardon me, but it's extremely disappointing. Got a great weather day. It's in the upper 60s, low 70s. It would have been great first match at Warner Park, and would have been great to have the first home victory tonight as well.
Now, Martie, I kind of consider Warner Park to be your kingdom, just because you've had that for so long. This would have been your second home opener of the season between Storm Chasers and Union Omaha. Now, what goes into that as far as getting that home game experience to be perfect, and what were we going to be looking at different with? Well, hopefully we'll still see this year different soccer versus baseball.
Oh, nothing. Oh, sorry, Martie. You cut out.
I cut out. All right. Hang on. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no, you're good, dude. We just got started, so we're still trying to figure our own self out right now.
I heard the question, though. Yes, it would have been second home opener of the year. Obviously on the baseball side, we were looking forward to celebrating our 10th season as the Storm Chasers at Warner Park. So that was disappointing. But, what goes into a home opener is, when we get our schedule, which in baseball, it can be anywhere from a year and a half, or further in advance. With soccer, you normally get your schedule in November, December-ish, so you don't have as much time to plan for it. But that entire offseason, that's what you spend planning for, whether it be, what is going to look different from a fan perspective as it relates to capital improvements, what's going to be different from a food offerings perspective, what is traffic flow perspective as it relates to parking and with entering and exiting the ballpark as it relates to fans. And then from a promotional, what is the experience? Baseball experience is different than soccer and vice versa. So in this case, we would have been creating an experience from a Union Omaha. It would not have been re-envisioning. It would not have been, how did we improve year over year? So we're still eager to have that inaugural game, which, we're hopeful that it's not too far off in the distant future. But, it's a lot of work for a lot of people that goes into home openers, because home openers sets the stage for an entire season.
By the way, if you're watching right now, you can comment on this video right now and ask whatever question you want. We'll try to get it to Martie as soon as we possibly can. But Martie, since you've done so much baseball, and this is kind of your first take at soccer, what are some parallels that you've seen between kind of running a baseball organization and starting up this soccer organization?
Well, it's still about relationships. At the end of the day, from a baseball perspective, you have a season ticket base that to a degree serves as your supporter group. At the lower minor league level, your supporter groups are your host families and families where the players actually live with those families. And, as you go up the baseball ladder from rookie ball, short season, full season, AA, AAA, that changes a little bit. So we don't have a supporter group per se at the AAA level. On soccer side, as I've learned, the supporter groups, as in plural, it's better when they all play nicely together, which it's been great that you guys have with the varying supporter groups. And I think that speaks a lot to what Coach Jay Mims and our COO Matt Hominoff have done to really communicate and to do events, bringing groups together. So that's new. And then from the eagerness of the folks in the community to buy season tickets for soccer, it was a little eye-opening to me as to just how much soccer support that there is. Creighton's always had a great program, and UNO is still a program that's growing. But at the end of the day, we haven't had true professional soccer in the metro, much less the state. So that's something that is definitely eye-opening. And again, building towards that opening match, I really wanted to see what the supporter groups, what the season ticket base, what does that look like and what that energy is. So, those are things that are new for me, even though I'm a 22, 25 year, sports vet.
What's up, Gary Green? So, I'm sorry that we got kind of, I don't know what happened there. I don't know how we didn't get the invite. Gary, how are you doing? We just asked.
Good.
How are you doing? I know we talked about this previously in another interview with you. I mean, you build and you build and you build to build up this team, and there's so many things that go into it. I mean, what's it like for you, Gary, to have today and have a deal where it's kind of should have been the first game, but it's not? I mean, what's that like for you?
I try not to think about it. No, I was hoping for the weather to suck today, and I looked and it was like a perfect weather day. So, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. I thought my AirPods weren't working. Yeah, we would have been. It would have been packed tonight. It would have been electric, and it will be electric whenever we play that first game. So, yeah, not fun to think about. What could be, but I try to have a reality check, and there's a lot of people much worse off than not having their soccer team play an inaugural game. So try to put it all in perspective, but purely selfishly, yeah, it stinks.
No, Gary, we've heard you and Martie on a number of different mediums over the past few weeks talking about the great things the team has been doing for the community here in Omaha, great things you've been able to help us out with. What does that really mean as far as this, how rooted this team is in the community? When you're giving in front of this beautiful jersey back to the community, giving thousands upon thousands of masks back to the community. How does that relate to you building this community-based team?
I mean, so I'm going to say something that sounds obvious, and we've been doing for as long as I've been there, but just a reminder that a community-based team is a community-based team, whether the team is on the field or not. So, we're community-based, and we did the mass and the fireworks and what we do, and my wife said to me, everybody's in New York, and why don't you do mass in New York? I said, because I don't have a community-based investment in New York. I have a community-based entity, and we're community-based. So we need to step up when the teams are on the field, but also when the teams are not on the field. And Martie's helped to teach me that, and just way minor USL soccer. So and when the team's not on the field, it really gives you an opportunity to show people that you really mean it, and that it's important. So teams on the field or not, we're a community-based organization, and we do it again. And whenever there's a crisis, we will be there. And that, I guess that's the answer.
So, fellas, I know that, we don't have a game yet, but we're getting live questions right now. And Chip Nelson asked, if we win the EUSL tonight, are we hanging a banner? At least we're winning some type of game. Are we gonna hand out rings to everybody?
We're winning.
Is this how it works?
Let's say this first ring for our first championship.
We will. We'll do rings and a banner, and they'll all be virtual. We'll do virtual rings, virtual banner. Yes. We'll do that.
I didn't watch the last match we had, but we're killing it. Was it even close?
Close? No, not at all.
No.
Winning seems to run in the Mims blood. So
yeah, I was texting with Dan Hilton today from Builder Trend, and he said, "What if we just use this opportunity and move up the championship?" I'm like, "Well, the payrolls are 4 times the size," and he said, "Well, look at what Jay's doing with this roster. I bet we could have a roster 25% of any championship league and still win."
I mean, we did beat an MLS team earlier this year, so I don't know. I don't know why not.
Exactly.
So I know that we're starting to kind of peel back the curtain, and we're trying to come back as a country. And where's the league at right now? I don't know, Martie or Gary, which one can talk about this. Where are we at on the start of the season? Has it progressed at all? Where are we at there?
Go ahead, Gary.
Okay. So, I mean, I think they keep on pushing the season later and later. And I don't know where that would be a Matt question to know exactly where they pushed it to, or maybe Marty, but clearly there's going to be no games. They need a 3 to 4 week lead in for training. And it's already basically May 1. So, June, July, August. I mean, I would say August, September at the earliest. But Nebraska's not. I don't think Nebraska would be the problem. You have to have an equal playing field throughout the country. So, we've talked with the league potentially about things that are World Cup format, maybe in one site without fans. We've also spoken about with the guys in Arizona, maybe having a parking lot with everybody in their cars and a big screen and the game going on inside. I mean, there's so many scenarios that we're throwing around right now. But ultimately, the one that everybody wants is games with fans and fans that feel comfortable. I really think over the past week, we've seen kind of the country shift a little bit in that. And I know just from New York, I mean, more people are in the streets in New York right now. There's more traffic on the highways. I think Nebraska, the cases have been slightly increasing. So, everybody's just optimistic, not wanting to go out too early, but at the same time get sports. So, I don't know where that leaves us, but could our first inaugural game be 2021? Yeah.
Now, Martie, I want to jump over to you for a second because you're your first time on pod right now. I know from your past that your first coaching job, your first job in sports ever, was a soccer coach in rural Louisiana, correct?
At 12 years old, if you want to call that a job.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it was actually in Ruston, Louisiana is where it was. And yeah, the town I was playing soccer in the older the kids got, the fewer that were playing soccer. So they said, hey, there's not enough for 12 and up. If you guys want to coach, you can. If not, we're not. You don't have soccer. You can't play. So of course I said, I'll coach, and that was my baseball when I was 15, and ultimately when I went to college, I was in education, was going to be a baseball coach. Music business changed my career, changed my major to marketing, and then I got into the sports side of baseball at that time. The business side of sports at that time through baseball, and then over the last 2 or 3 years, I've been learning the soccer world with Gary and our ownership group. Now,
for both of you, being very much baseball history wise, what is shocking you the most about soccer or soccer in Omaha, I guess, or soccer across the country?
For me, it was 2 quick things. One, with how many youth are actually play. There are more youth to play soccer in the state than baseball, and baseball's number 2. So those are my opinion, the 2 best sports. But I'm paid to say that, right, Gary? But no, I believe that. But fundamentally, and And then the second I mentioned earlier, right before Gary hopped on, was the supporter groups. That's the differences, different from the baseball and the soccer. Really the whole world from a sports perspective. Soccer is different. The supporter groups are different than any other sport. And that education was definitely something that was very eye-opening.
I've been reading about some MLB teams, and some MLB teams have been trying to mirror the supporter culture of soccer, and I think they want to learn from it, and they want to do it. They want to have that social aspect, and that kind of tribal aspect of the supporters group that soccer has. So Major League Baseball, they're pretty good marketers. So I could see that happening successfully with certain teams that have strong support, maybe like the San Francisco Giants, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Chicago Cubs, teams like that.
So we have a question from our chat. Jonathan Ryan asks, Gary, you mentioned that you'd be willing to play in December. Does that mean the entire month of December?
I don't think so. That would be too cold. I mean,
yeah,
any games in Omaha, no. But the entire month of December in Arizona, hell yeah, 100%.
And one of the conversations, it's funny you bring that up. Matt and I had a pretty in-depth conversation this week, Matt Hominoff, when looking at schedules, and Gary asked this early, there are a number of models they're doing starting in June, starting in July, starting in August, and so on and so forth. And I shared with them, November would not be good for games at Warner Park. We start shutting the water down in mid-October, early November normally. I think we could play matches through Halloween. I think I'd be fairly comfortable with that, maybe the first weekend in November. But beyond that, it would be operationally very challenging, very expensive to be able to operate as any facility here in the Metro. A lot of people don't know when the XFL was looking, they looked at both Warner Park and the downtown stadium for the college summer tournament. And both facilities are not really set up to turn on and turn off when it's cold. When I say when it's cold, Omaha cold. And we did that one time with hockey, and we know how challenging that was a few years ago when the Lancers and UNO tried to play. And I know there were different issues with that as it related to the ice, but there are also issues from a water perspective in the pipes.
We would have to play at Morrison or Caniglia, right?
If they're able, and they're set up a little different than
they
TV
are. Okay,
or
that was my question. Yeah.
Now, I think this is going to be the last one, so we can get going to the players. We're looking at a very competitive season. Other teams are bringing on some fantastic talent. If this is pushed to 2021, are we going to be looking at bringing back the same level of talent, or are we going to look at how well Jay set up a team the first year and build on that?
Well, I think Jay has set up a great team. And look, I'm not a soccer personnel expert, but look at what we did in the preseason. Look at what we did. Look at the culture. Look at how well the guys get along and they bond. I mean, I want to see what this team has. I'm ready to see this team. I'm not ready to change anything. We got this kid in is it Kenya? The kid in Kenya or he just yeah. I mean, we just want to get him over here. So I want to see what this team. Jay came back to Omaha to build the culture, and I think that he likes the culture he built, and ultimately that's his decision. But it seems like his decision he would want to stick with this team till next year. So, but you could ask him that because I know what I know and I know what I don't know, and I leave that to him.
We will ask him later tonight. Speaking about later tonight, we've got interviews with JP, Faraday, Luke, Jake, Christian Molina, Austin Poncho, and Elver coming up. Every 5 minutes, we're going to have player interviews coming for you guys to listen to and watch. Martie, Gary, thank you so much for coming on. Make sure you guys give out to omahagives.org. Help out the community around you. Guys, any last thoughts?
Yeah.
Just on my behalf, thank you for what you guys are doing. Thanks for hosting this tonight. Obviously, this is not somewhat, but extremely bittersweet. Yes, Gary's right. There are a lot of people that are suffering a lot worse than we are. But at the end of the day, sports, they're a distraction to our real world, our real life things. And right now we have very few distractions. So it would be awesome to be playing on the pitch tonight, but we want to encourage our fans to continue to bend the curve. Let's work through this together. And the sooner that we're able not to flatten the curve, but to bend the curve, then we can get back to what the new normal will be. And maybe we can be a little kinder and a little bit more gentler to each other as well when we come out of this.
Yeah. And what I would say is when the players come on, I can't tell you how many phone calls and creative ideas we're trying to come up with to get these guys on the field. We know they're chomping at the bit, and ownership is doing and management is doing everything we can to get them on the field. We've come up with some crazy ideas to do it. And really, number one, it's got to be safe. But we really want to come up with something. And even if it means the fans and you guys sitting in the parking lot watching a screen or everybody watching at home, we know that our players want to play. We know our fans want them to play, and we're going to do everything we can to make that happen. And thanks for having us on. Thanks for doing this. Yeah.